Thank you. Thank you, Gilbert. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to welcome you to Miracle Center for Spiritual Living. And all of you out there in Zoom land, I just want to let you know that I had fun coming in today through all that rain. And as I got closer to the church, it got less and less rain. So I don't know what that's all about. But I saw people running out there and walking their dogs and walking their babies and carrying umbrellas. And I guess they were just having fun out there in the rain. Saw one guy running without his shirt. So I wonder what he's thinking. This feels so wonderful. Is that what he was thinking? Or he's thinking, I missed that shirt. Good morning. And Science of Mind tells us that there is a spirit that's deep down inside each and every one of us. And right now, I want you to just sit in the still and reach into that spiritual self that's deep down within inside of you as I do this invocation. Infinite Spirit, in whom we live, move, and have our being, I acknowledge the presence and power of God, the activity of God. I acknowledge that God is all power, all presence, all activity. And that power right now is active right now at Miracle Center for Spiritual Living, right here in the midst of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, right in this wonderful storm that's cleansing our city. I know that God is working with each and every person that's on this show, that's bringing this production to you. Our Zoom camera person, myself, our musicians, our ushers, and Arnie out there who's preparing our little snack for after the meeting. I know that each and every person is blessed, and the messages that are being brought to you today by Reverend June are blessed. We are blessed, and we just give thanks for this time that we have. And if you're in agreement with me, please say with me, and so it is. Amen. And good morning again. How is everyone? I feel fantastic.
Like the man without a shirt?
I don't know about that fantastic. Now, let's awaken our perspective with our Science of Mind point of view this morning. Divine intelligence, the source of all that is, manifests itself in, through, and as each diverse form and individualization of itself, empowering expressions of imagination and creative power. Wow, I thought that was going a whole paragraph here for a second. We are immersed in the divine. The divine is inclusive of diversity, the confirmation of which is self-evident. We naturally are inclusive when we are recognizing diversity around us. Though we each have preferences, we are unified in one source, and therefore inclusion is the essence of who we are. We are invited to examine our beliefs from a stance of self-observation to help us become more aware of thoughts and ideas that do not serve us or others. This allows for transformation. Consciousness reveals itself as inclusion in action and demonstrates our oneness. Wow. Straight from Ernest Holmes. And now, we're privileged to hear from Reverend June, who's going to talk about inclusion in action. Let's get together. We are all right.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a gorgeous 7 degree, a little bit above weather in Cleveland, Ohio. And when Jerry brags about the weather, that's because we're not 90 degrees and 93 degrees humidity. So we are ecstatic. And those of you that are in other places, I know Southern California is 105 where I used to live. So I'm so happy. I almost I did talk to Laverne this morning. She calls me on Sunday morning at 7:30 every morning, 8:30 on every Sunday morning to make sure that my electric hasn't gone off, which it does a couple times. So anyway, when I talked to her this morning, I checked to see if she was getting her winter coat out. And I thought about it, but then I said, no, let's not jinx it. Let's not go that far. Let's not get into the winter clothing already, because by Saturday, it's supposed to be at least in the high 80s. So just blessing the day, just glad to be here this morning. I hope you are too. I think my wonderful, it's gone. I think my wonderful point, my wonderful PowerPoint, is it up there now?
Of course.
No, not yet. Not the whale wing. Okay, we'll work it out. It doesn't have to be up there right now. But what I want to share with you is that this month, after the past week of just being in tune with, I shouldn't limit it to the past week, but I will say that I focused this past week on peace and love, and it was brought through very clear to me that that's my personal focus between now and November, early November, when we vote. It spoke to me. It just spoke to me that my focus is going to be on love. And this morning we're starting with, it doesn't have, oh, there it is. What the world needs now is love. So this morning we're going to use that for our closing song, and maybe for the month. And if not for the month, then at least a couple of weeks. And then I've already zeroed in on the Beatles, All We Need Is Love. Dun, 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 dun. And then love is just my primary focus between just focusing on life, focusing on death, really, the funeral for Congressman Cummins and not Cummins, Lewis, for Congressman Lewis. And also the primary focus that brought me to this was, only a few people know about this, only 13 of us know about this, and that was the class that we had, that was a 5-week class. And the last day of the class, we all interpreted the book, This Thing Called You. We each took a chapter. And that shifted my consciousness so strongly into love that I decided that love is going to be the undergirding focus that we will have here at Centers for Spiritual Living Cleveland, that will be in addition to the United Centers for Spiritual Living theme, which is inclusion in action. And I think basically all of it ties together. So moving into this week's focus and this week's lesson, we have a call to action right away. And I like the title. I chose it. I like the title. And the title was supposed to be, let's get together. We're going to be all right. No, 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 no. We're not going to be anything. We are. We are all right. Every second of every day, every breath that we take. So the call to action, intentions, commitments, and actions. And if you have the bulletin or if you have the outline, you will see that it says, whatever you do, do with kindness. Whatever you say, say with kindness. Wherever you go, radiate kindness. And that is a quote from Jonathan Lockwood Hewell. And immediately I started, of course, picking out things that spoke out to me, the words. And the first word that I chose to look at and think about and focus on was from the Science of Mind, and it is kindness. And that is on page 4331, the first paragraph, kindness. And this is from the speaking of Jesus, the thoughts of the man Jesus. Jesus made the greatest claim upon God of anyone who ever lived. Jesus made the greatest claim upon God of anyone who ever lived. He demanded a complete and unreserved love. Excuse me. Ooh, that's okay. That's okay. It fits, but it's not the right word. Let's start again. He demanded a complete and unreserved trust in the goodness and loving kindness of the Creator. And harking down the ages since he lived and taught his marvelous philosophy to mankind, those who have followed his teachings have been justified in their faith. So if Jesus could say to his Father, we can say to ourselves, to all of us, that having the faith to function in our lives with kindness, sometimes you can say that's about just about all you need. It's like all you need is love, because all these words are synonymous. They all blend together. They all basically mean the same thing. Down here on this third line, it says radiate, radiate. When I think of radiation, when I think of something that radiates out, and they say, oh, she was so radiant as a bride. It's an exceptional awareness of somebody that you always see, somebody that you always know, but at some point there's a radiation that we radiate. Wherever you go, radiate kindness. So let it come out, let it shine, let it be your primary essence. And if it's your primary essence within, it's going to radiate out from you. And as you pass people, it's going to be like we're in some kind of movie studio, and there's going to be a special light shined upon us, and it's going to make us exceptional. It's going to make us stand out. We're going to radiate. And from the Science of Mind on 292.2, bring out the idea of substance. Make consciousness perceive that substance is spirit, so that you are God, you are radiating, you are shining forth, so that you are noticed and you are accepted and you are admired and you are perhaps radiating enough that someone wants to say, I want to be like that when I grow up. You know, you're just so supreme. Spirit is God, and God is all there is. Once you acquaint the consciousness with this idea, it is implanted in the creative power, which is externalized in your life. I'm trying to wrap around what is throwing me off. Fran, would you do something for me? Would you go and get my Science of Mind off my desk? It's in a box. Laverne knows where it is. Pardon me? I need the leather bound one. Okay, my references are off cue because they're just off cue. So I'll continue on. And if that doesn't work, I'll continue on anyway. But you know what I'm trying to say. Radiate, shine forth, bring yourself that essence. When you're feeling as if, well, the skies are a little gray today. They are. They're literally a little gray today here in Cleveland. But we're excited because that grayness brings us a coolness, brings us into some rain, and our grass literally gets brown. Thank you. I'll see if that's going to help. Our grass literally gets brown here in Cleveland. You wouldn't believe it. You'd think I was still in Southern California with the dry grass, but it gets brown, and then we get one shower, we get one day of rain, and the grass is green. I mean, bright green, and it's beautiful. The leaves, it doesn't bother so much on the trees, but the grass. And then we begin to radiate this beautiful greenery around us. So we feel the difference. We feel the difference, even though it's gray. So what I'm saying is, if you feel a little gray around the edges, if you feel a little, it's not such a good day. And unfortunately, with the focus on staying inside, many of us alone, whereas we're not out and about or gathering with friends and that type of situation where your energy gets a little low. So maybe you feel a little gray. Just know that you can radiate. You can radiate around the house. You can dance. You can sing. You can smile. You can look in the mirror and grab a book, grab the textbook, grab this thing called You, and look at the affirmations in there. And it often says in the sentence, you are. And what we did in the class, we took all the you are's and we changed them to I ams. Amen. And you just change the I am. I am special. I am radiant. I am not alone. That's the song. I am not alone. You know, just get up. Get up. If not physically helps, but get up. Bring yourself up. Put on a bright red shirt instead of I wore a black shirt today, but put on something bright and look around your house and say, I haven't sat in my living room since I had company 2 years ago. You know how a lot of us do? Go in there and open the blinds, open the curtains, put yourself in your best couch or your best chair and grin. I mean, when you go to eat, go to your cupboard, go to your china cabinet, drag those perfectly wonderful, beautiful, expensive china plates out. And you know you got to wash them. Get that crystal glass and wash it. And if you have special silverware, wash it up. And you cook yourself some bacon and eggs. I don't care if it's just bacon and eggs. I don't care what it is. And you put that crystal glass down and you put some ice in it and you get some sweet tea or some ice water or some wine or whatever that you want to drink, and you put it in there and you put that china plate down there, and you get, maybe even go to the drawer and get you a cloth napkin. Woo! I didn't say get the tablecloth, but that would be supreme. That would really be radiating. And then you sit down with your red shirt on and your perfectly cooked meal on your best china with your best silverware and your china, not china, but crystal glass. And you sit down and you say your blessing. I am wonderful. I am happy. I own all of this. Yes. This is mine, my divine inheritance. And you eat that meal, and then you get up and you go back and you sit in your special couch in your living room where nobody has sat for a couple years. And you know what I'm saying. Nah, I see the nods, I see the smiles. I don't know why do we do that? Well, it's better than when I was growing up in Buffalo, and it seemed like the houses that we visited, our house was kind of humble, The houses that we visited always had the French, with the wood legs and the padding and stuff on the back and the seats, plastic that had seams like about that thick around every cushion. Yeah. And it was either green or it was maroon color with the gold through. People that are here are going, oh, yes. And you go in, and of course my mother would tell Leora and I, don't you touch anything, especially if you go in the living room. Don't you touch anything. And you'd go in and you'd sit down and the plastic would get hot and you'd try and move, but you knew you weren't supposed to move because she said, don't touch anything. So here we are. I don't think people use the plastic as much. And if I've offended anyone, I do apologize. But I don't have plastic on my furniture, but I do apologize. I don't mean to knock anybody's furnishings or choices. But you get what I'm saying. Why? Why do we save the best china? I eat butter now. I used to use margarine. Why do I want to use margarine? I like butter. Yep. Do the best that you have for yourself. If you save all your butter for company, never mind. I'll move on. So I think you got radiate. I think you know what I mean by radiate. Just do it. Just shine yourself. Just get out there and show who you are. So we'll move on. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And that is from Vivian Green. Don't know who she is. I just like the quote. Learn to dance in the rain. What do? We go out in the rain. Oh, just got my hair done. Let me put this umbrella up. Oh, let me put the rain scarf on. Oh, let me put the rain coat on. Let me not get wet. Let me protect myself. Oh, I got these shoes on, and if they get wet, they might turn colors. Oh, the rain. And it's take your shirt off, right, Jerry? Right, exactly. Run in it, walk in it, just And what is the rain? What is the rain in our lives? It's a lot of, I'm not going to say it, junk. That's a different four-letter word. You know what I was thinking. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of unnecessary stuff. But like the rain, when it comes down, it washes off stuff. When stuff comes in your life, it washes you off. It makes you pay attention to it. And if you pay attention to it, and if you know how to dance, you're going to go to the stuff. You're going to just get out there and be glorious, and you're going to radiate, and you're going to know that the rain is going to do some good somewhere for something. And if that only means that you've thrown off something that you've been carrying around, it's done some good. So the stuff always gets us to shift and pay attention. If you're outside and it's pleasant and it's not too hot, not too cool, you don't pay you don't pay very much attention to yourself or how you feel. If it's too hot, you pay attention. I'm so hot, I gotta go get cool. If it's raining, I gotta get out of this rain, I'm getting wet. So when you're dry, long so, when everything's just going along and you're not paying attention to anything and the stuff shows up, learn to dance through it. Learn to see it. Learn to understand that it's here for a purpose and move on. So set an intention to be inclusive. What does inclusive mean? I think we do hear a lot of that expression currently today, to be inclusive. I know when I was teaching, it's been quite some time ago, but there was a time when not so much civil rights was, it wasn't that long ago, but it was when the school district decided that as teachers, we needed to understand, I was in Southern California, we needed to understand the expansion of students from the Philippines. We needed to understand the students who were already prevalent, which was primarily Hispanic students. We needed to understand Native American students, if you happen to have any in your class, Oriental, Chinese, whatever, and Black students. So they wanted us to be inclusive. So we had so-called training on how to incorporate all of these different cultures into how we spoke to children, how we asked them to do things, how we interacted with their parents. It wasn't easy. It was not easy at all, because 99.9% of us human beings, we go along and we do, and we just behave through the actions of first our home teaching, and then 99.9% of us through our school teaching, from kindergarten all the way up, whether you have a master's degree, a doctorate degree, or 2 or 3 of each. What has happened is we have been fed somebody else's ideas. Someone else's ideas. I'm not saying they were right, I'm not saying they were wrong, but quite often they conflicted with what we were brought up with. And then the school's telling you that to be a teacher who manages to understand every single person, 32 kids basically in your classroom, and maybe they came from another language category, maybe they came from a cultural difference than you are. It's the same thing that's going on today. We are asked to be inclusive and to set an intention to be inclusive. I don't think to set the intention is asked of us. I think the demand is asked of us. You must get along. You must get along. And usually those who are asking us to must get along don't get along with each other. It has nothing to do with culture, race, or anything else. It's just that by choice, the individual rules. Whatever the individual is, whoever the individual is. And when that happens, the inclusivity, the intention to be inclusive becomes just me. And I believe it's Reverend Leora that used to say a lot, there is no I in team. And that's true for so many situations. It's the I focus. And let's use the I focus as intention. The intention focus is to be broad enough to bring someone else in, to be inclusive in your world. And the sentence is, an inclusive setting works towards providing effective planning and different activities, differentiation in order to meet individual needs. How much energy does that take? How much energy does it take to allow yourself to see? Usually you can see. Sometimes it might take language. It might take listening to somebody and say, oh, they look like me, they act like me, they dress like me, but they're different because they speak and they don't speak like me. You can tell there's a language difference. And what comes up for most of us? It's the difference that matters. I totally understand. I love differences. I do not want to be around a lot of people that look like me. I have one sister that most people see the resemblance. I know there's a resemblance, but they see a definite resemblance. It's okay. There's two of us. That's enough. That's enough. I don't want to be around somebody that when they're speaking or they're dressing or they're walking, that when I look over, I think there's some science fiction stuff going on. There's a replicant, you know, that there's somebody else exactly like me that's really not me. I don't want that. I'm gonna watch the time. I don't understand. This is not in my notes. It's not in my talk. It's coming up for me. I don't understand. In today's society, we know there's a lot that has to do with color. People say, I don't see color. I only see the individual. Just me. How can you not see my color? How can you not see my color and still say that I'm an individual? Something to think about. Honor what you see. Honor who people are. And bless it and be inclusive enough in your mind to know that there is a difference and yet there is not a difference because we are all one. I want to see the difference in people. The first thing you're going to see is the skin. Come on. The first thing I am not going to see is the eyes. Oh, I look at people, eye color. Come on. You see. And if you have worked with children, which is sometimes easier than working with adults, you have all these little ones around and they're all different shades of shades. We can't say a color because there's shades. There's shades and shades and shades within the color itself. unless it is invisibleness a shade or a color? So what we have to do, I guess I'm asking for a prayer for this nation, especially as we go through this time that I think the world needs love, for the inclusiveness. So reading the sentence again, an inclusive setting works toward providing effective planning and different activities, differentiation in order to meet individual needs. Take those words, if you have to clip them up, hang them up somewhere. Every time you see a politician, we don't see our state, city, et cetera, that much, but we see our national folk on TV. Take this sentence out and read it as an affirmation for someone, that they will see and they will understand that there needs to be a differentiation in this country. No, there's a lot of other countries, not worried about them right now. In this country, about how we are proceeding in our lives. It's not in my notes, so I'll move on, but God said. So I wrote down here as I was working on this yesterday, such an awesome premise, one yet so many aspects of life of us. It is the aspect of who we are, how we function, how we ourselves function, how we ourselves bring ourselves to this country and to this prayer and to this activity, which we move about in, even if it's in your own house. So back to the notes. This is from John Lennon. Make an effort to amalgamate active listening, conscious communication, and become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's exactly what I was talking about. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable, to fulfill the intention to put inclusion in action. Are you receptive to change? We can look at those people on TV who we have elected to office. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the leaders that they are. We've put them there. If we ourselves are not willing to change, how can we expect someone who doesn't know us from that wall over there to change? How many legislators in the Congress or in the Senate do you personally know? How many of us personally know the President of the United States? We know of them. We know who they are. And they are one with us. Therefore, if we want inclusion in this country, if we want to move forward in this country, we might have to be a little more uncomfortable in ourselves so that we can, through prayer, through awareness of the truth of oneness, go within ourselves. And when we go within ourselves and we meditate and we read and we think and we shift our idea about something, that perhaps they will be more uncomfortable in a way that we are uncomfortable. And there will be a shift in what is going on in our country. We must. I know there's church and state, but who is the church and who is the state? We are both, and so are they. So this next, I'm going to read this John Lennon one again. Make an effort to amalgamate active listening, conscious communication and become comfortable with being uncomfortable, to fulfill the intention to put inclusion in action. Are you receptive to change? Moving on. We're one, we've always been one. What a concept, nothing new. Oh my goodness, that's what we teach immediately, if not sooner. When someone comes into religious science that doesn't understand us, as simple as the premise is oneness, a lot of people don't feel it. They don't understand it. They don't understand that we are one with God as God expressing. It's not an easy concept to grasp. And I know it's not easy because sometimes I forget it. You know, I remember a lot of things that really are difficult, more difficult than remembering that I am one with God, and I forget it. So again, we have to focus. We have to make ourselves aware that we are one with the one. We're one. We've always been one. We'll always be one until we think we're not. It's that simple. Until we think we're not. But it doesn't change anything, because that's the humanness saying, questioning, forgetting. That's the humanness. And best, the one does never, ever leave us. Our God self never leaves us. We sometimes leave it. Maybe just to be comfortable, I don't know. That's for everybody to decide themselves. And herein lies our challenge. We are one, but we think we are separate. We have forgotten our oneness. And that's from author Damian Mark Smythe. Not necessarily a religious scientist. I don't know. I just saw the quote and liked it. But he's right on time, right, correct. So moving on. Change your thinking through awareness and choice. We must think of ourselves as being the way we would like to be. How many people have you spoken to or kind of shared with at times when there's something that's not quite right with them? And, I don't even like myself. That's rather pathetic. It's not rather pathetic, it's pathetic. If you don't like yourself, for me, there's nothing else in this united oneness that you can possibly like. Because we are all one, and every part of God is a part of us. So you don't like God, you certainly don't like yourself because you don't like God. Something needs to change. Think about it. We do not make the thought creative, it is God. There's a few things we cannot change. One of them is God is all there is. There never was a do not make the thought creative, it is God. There never was a human thought. Sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? There never was a human thought. And there isn't, because all there is God. All thought is divine, even though it is divine in a humanly circumscribed way. It's our humanness that shows up. It's our humanness that speaks, but it is God who processes who we are, who puts the thought in our mind, who allows it to come out of our mouth because we're at choice. not God's fault. It's our humanness fault for not recognizing the godness within us before we think about what we're saying, what we're doing, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, always interpreting, always picking apart. Yeah, but she did, yeah, uh-huh. That ain't God. Nowhere, no how, not God. We need not look for some other power. We have the power now. It is the only power we will ever know. How can you know something that does not exist? There's only God. That's what we know. That's what exists. Since it is invisible, the essence of reality. And it's probably good that it's invisible, because you know what we would do with it? Oh, but it's got blue hair today. Oh, but it wears long dresses. Oh, but it wears pants. Oh, but it looks like this. Oh, but it's overweight. Oh, but it's this. Oh, but it's that. Thank God it's invisible. Invisible. But we are visible. So when we say this, oh, but she's got blue hair, or he's got blue hair, or he's overweight, or he wears this, or he wears that. Same thing. We're kind of sort of knocking God is. Stop it. We should forget all the negative arguments, forget all the reasons why. Jerry loves that because he says there's no why questions. All the reasons why it is not so, and this is what I like, and begin to think of a few reasons why it is so. Think about why it is so. It's so simple. Let's see, there's several little quickie sayings. Stay in your own lane. You don't have a nickel in that dime. Mind your own business. Be yourself. Love yourself. Why are you trying to do something for someone else? Because the only thing you know about the someone else and the something else is what they have either shown you through their actions or what they have told you. Do you know the whole story? No. 99.9%. You only know a smidgem. Don't ask me what that means, but you can figure it out. You only know a teeny tiny bit of what you see, what you think, what you hear that you know. And when you get those little smidgems and you put them up here in this mind and you turn it around and you spin it, that's a real common phrase they use now. They're spinning what has been said. They're spinning how it looks. Not just the politicians do the spinning. We do a lot of spinning ourselves. And that's when we are not being inclusive. And that's when we are not being aware of ourselves as one and honoring another as one. Keep intentions. How many? I don't make New Year's resolutions anymore. Why? I don't do the burning bowl on New Year's Eve anymore. Why? You write down on a piece of paper, I will not do da-da-da-da-da anymore. I really don't like doing such and such, so I'm going to write it on this paper because I know I'm going to put it in this bowl or this can or this dish or whatever, and I'm going to burn it and it's going to be gone. We've now got to using little paper. It's a paper that goes. Oh, yeah, and that see, that's the modern way to do church. You get the You get the paper that goes, and on New Year's Eve, you have everybody come up with this little piece of paper, and they've written down what they're not going to do anymore. And it's exciting because you got all these little proofs, little piece of paper in it, and they all go, and it's gone. It's not what I believe, so I don't do it. I set an intention at some point, regardless of what other people think, regardless of what other people do, regardless of what other people say. I've got to be in my uncomfortableness when the question's asked, or when it's said, I don't know why you did that, because I would rather you do something else. It's okay. I can listen, I can hear, and I can understand. And I'm stubborn as you know what. And if I choose, I will do it my way. If you choose, you will do it your way. Thank you. So moving on, why? We should forget all the negative arguments, forget all the reasons why it is not so, and begin to think of a few reasons why it is so. Don't base what you do on a negative. Base it on a positive. The next section is keep intentions. Be aware that what you think, to a large extent, I say 100%, creates the emotions you feel. See the link between your thinking and your emotions. If there's an expression, there's a word, and then off. It has an ED on it. If you're angry, if you're upset, why would you go around grinning and skinning and happy with someone that you just want to sock in the mouth? I mean, I'm being really real here. Can you cohabitate? Can you be in the company of and disagree and either express your disagreement or move yourself from the situation? You're at choice. You don't have to fake it to make it. If there is something in your beingness, in what is going on in your life that you are radiating about, you're overjoyed about, enjoy it. If there is something in your experience that you are upset about, that you're unhappy about, be unhappy. Name it, own it, and proceed. See the link between your thinking and emotions. Rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. And that's from Eckhart Tolle. Set an intention to be inclusive in action. I've already spoken about that. You can read this. I think at this point we understand what that means. Be active in your intentions and be active in your inclusion. So we have our reader this morning, and I'm going to just have you do.
So our reading today is mindfulness means doing things slowly and carefully. Mindfulness is about having the whole picture and understanding everything that is happening. Consider. These pains you feel are messengers. Listen to them. Raise your words, not your voice. It is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all of the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what their color.
Yes.
Thank you, Reverend Theresa. We have an affirmation here. I'm going to move into treatment, and then we will have collection, and we'll read our affirmation, and then I will play, or we'll listen to What the World Needs Now is Love. So the energy of God, this energy that has come through me this morning, has come through my words, through my thoughts, out my mouth. Each of us sitting, whether at home, here in the sanctuary, you have your thoughts, you have your prayers, and it is God, the oneness, the one God that we are each addressing in our individualized way. And in this individualized expression of God, we are all, everyone on this planet, all one inclusive expression of the one. Speak your word silently, write it down, walk around the house and shout. Know that you are speaking directly into the heart and the mind of the one universal allness. I speak my word for peace. I speak my word for love. I speak my word for divine health of so many in this universe, of the folks here in our congregation who we don't see, but who we know are in a place where the word health and blessings are meant for them to hear and to understand and to accept. I know we are in the place where people in our congregation have lost members in their family to life. They have lost them to life in another form. There are so many ways we can embrace one another, that we can radiate ourselves, our thoughts, our prayers out to one another, even though we cannot hug, even though we cannot see physically one another. Remember who you are. You are a divine expression of the one. Be uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable enough to look at yourself and think, perhaps I could be a little more inclusive. Perhaps I could drop the judgment. Perhaps I could take what is given to me, what I have in income, and shift it around and give more somewhere else, or save more, or do this, or do that, which is a benefit to me, to the self, to be a benefit to the family members. We need one another. And we have this family which is kind of odd shaped and has a few islands somewhere, and then it has this mass of land and some islands up there, and it's called the United States of America. And maybe there's some discomfort in the United States of America. But it is us, it is ours. Bless it. Bless the leaders. You know, you don't know what you don't know, but we know. We know peace, we know harmony, we know love, we know truth. Don't let the words that come out of your mouth be the bad mouth stuff. I can say this, I can say that. No. Be the harmony, be the inclusive, affirmative voice, the intention to set us aright, to set us on the path for those of us who are my age, below, and plus, that are within the sound of my voice, to know that our children, and especially our grandchildren and our great grandchildren are going to inherit something beyond bickering and uncertainty. And certainly we need perfect health now. Be the change. Be inclusive. Recognize the differentiation needed for our world to function as one. In this prayer, each individual that hears me, know that you are aware, you are prayerful, you are holy, you are one with God. Put up your own prayer. Anytime, any day that it comes to you to be inclusive, to surround us all in love and peace and harmony and joy. And I bless this time. I bless each and every one of us. And I allow this to be because it is so. And together let us say, and so it is. Amen and amen. And it is, according to this clock, a couple minutes over. So we'll have collection. And while we have collection here, I thank those of you who mail in your checks, drop them in our mailbox. They are safe. I come and check the mail. Arnie comes and checks the mail. We do pick up the mail. We're here once a week on Fridays. So know that your tithes and offerings are safe, and they are truly, truly accepted and blessed and appreciated. So I'm going to ask that the song be played, and Gilbert's going to catch up next week. Since I overtalked his time, he reclaimed his time, if you've heard that expression lately this week. So we're going to play.
Let's give Reverend June another round of applause. So Reverend June, when I go home today, I'm going to ask Jackie to if we can eat in the dining room. We're going to take out the best china, the best silver, and those glasses I got, those wine glasses I got when I retired, that we never used. And we're just going to have a good time in the dining room. So Reverend June, I just thank you for that message. It was wonderful. It was timely. As we think about going to our respective homes, let's just meet at the center. As we relax and take a breath. I just give thanks for this time that we've had together. It's been a wonderful time that we have had, that we have understood about using our best china and all of the things that Reverend June said about diversity. We're going to take it to heart. We just know that this day is blessed, and each and every person that's here is blessed, and every person that's on Zoom that's connected to us in any way are blessed. And as we give thanks, I just want you to say with me, and so it is. Amen and amen and amen. Have a wonderful day.